Morning everyone, Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. Welcome to our guests from Atzot Abrit, Zaku Baruch. So we are continuing in Halachot Shabbat. Bezrat Hashem maybe for another week or so, then we'll get into the Halachot of Rosh Hashanah, etc. So we are now up to Siman Reish Nun Daled, and it's kind of continuing what we were talking about in Siman Reish Nun Gimel, food items that you started cooking and you put on the fire before Shabbat, and now it's continuing into Shabbat. So getting into some more details, in Seif Aleph, the Shulchan Aruch tells us that what we spoke about was really food that's in a pot, it's going to be cooking in a pot, normal way of thinking of cooking, but roasting, and we said in that case that if you have basar chai, if you have raw food, raw meat that you put into your pot, we said we brought down from Rabbi Tzina Bashul, they would put in raw piece of meat right before Shabbat in his dafina, in his chamin. And he said, therefore, we know you're not going to touch it. We know all night it takes time for it to cook, etc. So you're not going to touch it. But that's when it's in a pot. But if it's tzali, if it's something that's roasting on the fire, something that's roasting on an open fire is much faster to get cooked, much faster to get ready. And therefore, it's asur to do that because you might come to get involved in the chitu, you might come to stoke the fire, you might come to get involved in the fire because it's something that's quick to get ready.
Can't we just steak on the barbecue and turn off the barbecue?
So if it's off already, maybe that's a different case. If it's off, that's a good question. But it seems like the fire is on here. Maybe that's not considered ala esh, right? It's not on the esh anymore. Here so it's on something that's a good example. That okay, let me go before Shabbat. Let me put it on the barbecue. I'll put it on low, and I'll. That's certainly the case when it's case that the fire is on, right? Let me put it on low and let me continue going. No, you can't. You got to be. So the truth is, the Shulchan Aruch does get into details as to if it's chicken or if it gets into more detail, if it's lamb, then it's something that would be allowed. But if it's something that takes a long time, it would be longer. But we want to try avoiding these cases because it gets into a lot of detail. So something like that would be not recommended. That's for sure. Then the Shulchan Aruch speaks about in Seif Gimel that let's say if a person was over and he was nitzla on Shabbat, if let's say he roasted on Shabbat, or if it was a way that it was done accidental. So you might think, okay, it was done accidentally, so maybe I could benefit from it on Shabbat. But nevertheless, even if it's done accidentally, it's not to be benefited from on Shabbat, because what's going to happen is a person might have done it on purpose, and then in order to not be embarrassed, say, oh no, I did it accidentally. So then it was really something that's asur, and therefore, even in both cases, it's not allowed. Lastly, in Seif Daled, talks about fruits. So let's say I have fruits that I want to put beside the fire. Meaning, I don't know if you have baked apples before, but there's some people that have cooked fruits. So if you put fruits, so that is like food in a kedera, like food in a pot, because we already mentioned that at least if it's at least a third cooked already, k'machab ben drusai, if it's already a third cooked from before Shabbat, then you're already good to go. Certainly raw fruits that you eat raw is already considered like they're cooked, meaning because they're ready to go. So you're not worried that on Shabbat you're going to come and stoke the fire, do something to get these fruits more cooked. It's already good to go on its own. So we're not worried about that. And even in a place where the Chida adds, even in a place where generally people wouldn't eat raw fruits, there's still no issue with this because you could eat it raw. There's no issue with it. Those are the halachot for today. Mincha tonight at 6:15. Maybe we could take a quick poll. We usually, on long weekends, we go straight into regular timing, don't do early. But with selichot, we get 6 a.m. versus 7:15 a.m. 6 or 7:15? No? 7:15? Ezra, Zev? You okay either way with work and everything? Menashe, you're good? Okay, 7:15. We'll give a break for this. Okay, 7:15 tomorrow morning, Salichot, 8 o'clock, Shacharit, B'ezrat Hashem, because of the long weekend. Time to video.